Hey guys, welcome back to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel for the video today. And guys, it is freaking hot here in Southwest Missouri. We are under a dang heat dome. It's supposed to be the heat index 110 today. It feels like it in the tackle room right now. And it's a perfect segue to talk about today's video topic, which is sort of a paradox. We're going to talk about how the hotter it gets in August and September, the shallower the fish move. This doesn't make sense. It happens. It's a reality. I'm going to explain to you guys what the deal is. And definitely I think it's going to add some more fish when you understand how these fish move in hot weather. So we're going to dig into that today. Also, guys, you've heard me talking about this, man. If you're looking for a new bait cast reel or you want to get a new one for your collection, guys, try this Cast King ALTI bait cast reel. This is the one I'm talking about. It's almost impossible to backlash because of this new braking system they got on it. You can literally cast it without even putting your thumb on the spool once you adjust it. I'll have my Cast King link in the description of the video. It's got 11 ball bearings, all titanium spool. If you use my promo code Randy10 on the Cast King link, you get an additional discount on this reel that puts it under $200. You'll never find a finer quality reel for under $200. So check that out. And also, guys, quick reminder, anybody interested in booking a private on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. Shoot me a private message for my lessons, which I do here in Missouri on Stockton and Table Rock Lake. So appreciate you guys checking that out. Okay, guys, let me talk to you how the evolution of this, how, people started realizing that this was the thing back in the mid to late 1990s, because what was happening about this time frame, that is when people started getting better at fishing offshore. There were improvements with GPS, the electronics were getting better, and a lot of people started fishing offshore in the summertime of the year and having some success. I mean, it was becoming a deal, people getting out there and fishing offshore ledges and humps and structure, with this mapping technology. But what happened is, if you started noticing every single year, the Bassmaster Classic, which was held in August, more and more times it was getting one in really shallow water. I'm talking about in super hot conditions. I'm talking about heat indexes over 100, shallow hot water situation where you think those fish would be out deep. And the Classic started to get one shallow. I remember back when George Cochran won I think it was the 1996 Classic at Lay Lake. I fished that tournament, brutally hot. I mean, it was brutally hot, and everybody was out there in the deep water fishing through standing timber and submerged timber for those spotted bass down there. And Cochran won it like in 3 foot of water in the back of a creek in August on a crankbait or spinnerbait. I can't remember which one, but that makes a lot of sense after I'm explaining to you guys what goes on here. Now, what happens usually, you got to understand a little bit about bass movement behavior. There's always different populations of fish. So when I talk about bass moving shallow in August, I'm talking about a percentage of the bass. I'm not talking about like all the bass. You have bass in August, and especially the first part of September when it's still hot, that are all over the place. I mean, the thermocline's usually in place, so you don't have a lot of fish that are on the bottom deep, much over 25 or 30 foot. You got some fish that are suspended and roaming. You got some fish that are on the bottom in less than 25 foot. You got some fish using some mid-depth ranges, and you got some shallow fish. And you got fish using every type of cover out there. They're using boat docks, lay down trees, rocky banks, riprap, whatever. They're out in the middle of the lake chasing shad. Nevertheless, one of the things you'll find when it starts to get hot like this is the shallow bite picks up, and it starts getting better than it was like in June and July. And a lot of this has to do, I think, with the shortening daylight hours. You have a lot of shad that are small this time of year that are starting to move shallow, and you have a lot of live shallow. If you go into shallow water, if you go to any lake in the country, guys, and you walk the bank on most any lake in the country, you will see a lot of life. You'll see crawdads under rocks if you turn them over in 6 inches of water. You'll see minnows swimming there, shore minnows. You'll see perch swimming everywhere. There'll be frogs, there'll be snakes, there'll be just a lot of life going on shallow. And that is why a lot of these bass like to live shallow that time of year, because the oxygen is pretty decent. You got a lot of food up there. So why not? What's wrong with living in 3 foot of water if you can hide underneath a log or hide under a boat dock piling, or you can get back under the shade of an overhanging tree? A lot of bass prefer to do that. So this is one of the reasons why in August I always move shallow in August, guys. I don't hardly ever fish deep in August. I'll fish deep like in June. I do fish a lot of deeper points and stuff in June, but by August and September, guys, I'm usually dirt shallow. And a couple of different techniques that work good. A lot of it depends on the lake you're fishing, but my favorite thing to do, and you don't have to do this, but I like to look for off-colored water. You don't have to. You can still catch them in clear water. But I like to find the dirtiest water I can and throw a little bitty crankbait. Something like that Mega Bass Super Z2 or Bandit 200, some type of a crankbait that's a little over an inch long, targeting whatever shallow cover's up there. Lay down trees, logs, rocky banks, riprap, could be anything like that. Really, really good way to catch them. If you have some type of a shady area or any type of vegetation like lily pads or cattails or hydrilla or boat dock pilings or overhanging trees or something like that, a swim jig can be really good, like some type of a perch pattern swim jig, and then flipping and pitching something small. I usually like some type of a smaller creature bait or 4-inch worm or something like that, and just probe that shallow cover in and around the shade and the hard structure with that. But it is sort of the deal out there where you're fishing for more individual fish. You're not fishing for groups of fish like a lot of guys are that are fishing suspended. But I like fishing like that. I like getting like back in a creek and just going down a rocky bank with a crankbait. And, if I see a dock, I'll go over there and pitch a worm underneath it. Or if I see some lily pads, I'll pitch something in there. And it's just a good way to catch them in the heat of the summer. And if you're fishing in a cleaner water situation, say the lake you're fishing has water visibility over 3 or 4 foot, it's a great time of year to catch them on a topwater all day long in the heat of the summer. Those same fish that are living in shallow water also live in that clear water because those perch are still there. The crawdads are still there. The perch are still there in the clear water, but your bait selection changes. And I like to go with either a prop bait or, like a devil's horse or a walking topwater like a Zero Spook, something like that, maybe a whopper plopper. Cover water, throw that thing right up on the bank and just burn as much shoreline as you can. A lot of times you can catch a good bag doing that. So that's the thing about it, guys. Don't get scared by the heat. I mean, I have caught bass in water temperatures over at 90 degrees quite often. I mean, there's a lot of fish up there that'll bite this time of year. And if you don't like getting out there and dragging a worm out off the bank or weenie worming around with a live scope, that's a good alternative to it. So hope it helps out.